Hey teacher friends, welcome to my free webinar today, all about blending the science of reading and guided reading together. I'm so excited to be here with y'all. So if you are new here today, welcome to our Facebook group. I am so excited to be here. So hey Jillian, hey Sheila, hey Janina, hey Debbie. I am so excited. So I know it's been a while since I've been on here with you guys, but school started, right? So just like you guys, I've been busy in the classroom getting everything ready to go, and this is going to be my fourth week already getting into school. Now, I want you guys to tell me when did you start school? We started school on August the 12th, it seems like a long time ago already. But tell me when you started school and if you're still going to start school, because I know we have a lot of different people in our Facebook group from different states and possibly from different countries too. So I just want to know when you guys started school. So just to give you a little bit of a heads up. So if you've been here with me, if you're an OG, you've been here a long time, so you know that my Wi-Fi is really slow. My face might freeze on camera, but my voice will keep going, so don't freak out. It's okay. And just know that it's going to happen, okay? And I apologize, but living out in the country, sometimes your Wi-Fi doesn't work as fast as you want it to. So, okay, Sheila says August 14th. Okay, so you've been at school for a little while too. So I hope you guys are having a great Labor Day weekend, and I'm sure you have off tomorrow to get some much needed rest. Janina says August 21st. Okay, so awesome. So I have been teaching for 25 years, and I have turned coach and mentor and trainer in my school district. I have given lots of different trainings on readers workshop, writers workshop, math workshop, behavior management. I have given guided reading trainings before, and so this is going to be my first session that I'm giving with you of the science of reading. I have been trained in the science of reading a couple of years ago, because since I live in Texas, we had to go through the Reading Academy, which was required, and so I got a lot of great ideas that I would like to share with you guys today. So here's what we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss, first of all, the most important thing is, what can you win today? So if you're commenting during the webinar, I have 4 different resources that you could win. So I'm going to show you what that is in just a little bit. And then, hey, Hillary, so glad you're here. And then I'm going to share my materials and supplies that I use for my small group. And then my professional literature and for science of reading and guided reading. And if you want to go dig deeper into the science of reading or guided reading, I have some professional literature that I would suggest that you read. And then what is science of reading, first of all, and what is guided reading? My sound wall that I just created and how I group my students. My science of reading groups with activities, and also my guided reading groups with activities. Pictures of my teacher table, how I organize my teacher table. My reading basket organization, and then what is guided writing? I don't know if you guys are familiar with guided writing or not, but I'm going to share with you what I do for that. Oh, Janina, you're in the Reading Academy right now. Yeah, it's a lot of work, right? It's a lot of modules, but once you get through it, it is awesome. It's wonderful. How I launch my literature circles, which I'm going to share with you at the very end. And then this is so important. How am I not interrupted during my small group? I get questions like that all the time. How do you keep your kids from not interrupting you? So I have a couple of tricks for that. And then what are the other kids doing while you're doing small group reading? And then the last thing is my latest invention that I created was my sight word data trackers that I'm going to be doing this year. So just my point of view, guys. I know since we have a lot of different teachers in our group, some teachers have already been through the Reading Academy. They've already learned the science of reading, okay? I know that I'm not the end-all be-all of science of reading, so I'm just going to be sharing with you what I know and what works for me, okay? On the other spectrum of that, we have teachers that have not even started the science of reading at all. We have teachers that are still doing guided reading, which is perfectly fine. I know other districts all over the world, they have their different opinions about guided reading versus science of reading. So I'm going to show you both because I know that there are some teachers that are different places in their journey. And so all I ask is that when you comment, just be kind, okay? And then if you have questions, please ask. I will be glad to answer them. So try not to belittle somebody that is, has a different opinion than you. Just, we have different opinions. That's okay. And just leave it at that. Okay. So if you love what I'm sharing with you today and you want more, stay tuned, because the end you could have a chance to join my Cross-Curricular Connections membership subscription, where all of your lesson plans and resources are already made for you. And so you can take back your weekends and you can be, have more time for yourself and your family. So just stay tuned for that. Okay, so I am going to give away these 4 resources if you're commenting today. So you could have a chance to win my bulletin board and portable sound wall resource. I just created this right a couple of weeks ago. Or you could win Let's Pop Some Sight Words. These are sight word data trackers that I just created that I'm going to be using this year for my T-test goal, since I teach in Texas. Or you could win my phonics groups mapping and decoding activities that has sound mapping. It has decodable passages with comprehension questions. It has all different kinds of activities for your science of reading groups. Or if you haven't started science of reading and you're still doing the guided reading framework, so you could win Are You Fixed Up for Guided Reading? This is a resource that has my guided reading lesson plan template, my running record template, and then the fix-up strategies that you would use to teach your kids when you get to a word you don't know. So I know that the science of reading and guided reading are complete opposite ends of the spectrum, of course, with the science, with the strategies. So I'm going to be showing you both, okay? So if you win today, you can get any of these for free. Now, if you are already in my membership, you already have all this in your membership. So you have to look in the module that is about back to school. And all of these are in the back to school module for you guys. They're already there for you. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pick my first winner today. And if I call your name, what you can do is go ahead and tell me which resource you would like, or if you want to wait until the end, that is perfectly fine too. I will send it to you on Facebook Messenger. So after I teach you about all these different resources, then you probably have a better idea of what you want, okay? So my first winner is going to be Sheila Brimmer. Congratulations, Sheila. So glad you're here today. So Sheila, you can pick any of those 4 resources that you want to win. Okay? So, small group reading materials. These are the things that I use. I use my horseshoe table with stools or crate seats. I use stools, but a lot of teachers like to use the crate seats, I know. You can use the dry erase vinyl circles that go on your table where the kids can write on with their expo markers. I know a lot of teachers love doing that. You can have a small group reading binder with dividers. So you could have dividers for your reading groups, and you can put your templates, your lesson plans, running records, whatever you want to use inside the binder. I also have dividers for all my students in the classroom. And so they all have magic numbers. And so anytime I do a running record, or I have data from a data assessment or phonics assessment or passage assessment, whatever I have goes in the binder. So it's all together. So I suggest that you can get organized a lot easier if you have some kind of a binder. And then when you go to your RTI meetings and your child study meetings and you want to have evidence, if the child needs to be tested for anything, you have all of your records right there, okay? I'm going to share with you my leveled readers and decodable readers, assorted pointers, popsicle sticks for comprehension questions. I have really fun things for them to do for comprehension. You can use magnetic trays. You can use magnetic letters. You can have pencil pouches where you put all your letters into for them to use. You can use sound mapping mats. Running records, of course, lesson plans, your timer. You need to have a timer so you don't go over time. And then your sound wall is very important to have. Reading strategy posters if you're still doing guided reading. Supply caddy for your supplies. Your chair pockets if you want to have chair pockets behind your chairs where you have all of the supplies that they need to get out. That is perfectly fine. And then my guided writing booklets, okay? So this is a piece of literature that I highly recommend if you are just getting into the science of reading. Shifting the Balance, 6 Ways to Bring the Science of Reading into a Balanced Literacy Classroom. So I have read this, and it's really awesome. So it's really giving you the balance of both worlds. And it's a really quick read, really easy read by Jan Birkins, Carrie Yates. And so if you're interested in doing any professional reading, this is it, okay? That I would highly suggest. So this is my teacher table. And this is what it looks like right now. I know it's kind of like a hot mess, but here's my reading table. And then over here on the side, I have a rainbow cart full of my phonics decodable readers with sound mapping for each short vowel and long vowel. So that is the sound mapping resource that you could get for free if you want. And so this is how I organize my drawers. They're all organized by short and long vowel. And then I have my guided reading baskets, and I also have decodable readers here on my shelf as well, because I use both in my reading groups, okay? And I also have this carousel caddy right here that has all my supplies like markers, crayons, my pointers for the kids to use, my scissors, my stapler, staple remover. Anything that I need for my small group reading table is in this carousel caddy, and I got that from Michael's. That is so awesome. I love it. And it also has drawers, so I can put my double dice in there if I need, for math or whatever. So this is my my teacher table, and then I have my ABCs up here. On the next wall over, which you can't see from that picture, but this is my sound wall. So we have moved away from word walls to sound walls, okay? So my sound wall has all of the consonants, and it has the titles for each part of all the different consonants, the stops, the nasals, the fricatives, the affricates, the glides, and the liquids. And then down here you have the vowel valley, which we all go over all the time with our sound wall for the different short vowel, long vowel. And so this is the sound wall that you could also win today if you're picked, okay? So that's what my teacher table looks like. That's my main wall, and then the side wall, I have my sound wall on the side. Okay, so teachers always ask me, Kara, when do you meet with your groups? So I have what's called Reader's Workshop. If you took my Back to School Empowering Connection course or Back to School Boot Camp, you are familiar with my Reader's Workshop. So my Reader's Workshop is a framework of the I do, the we do, and the you do. So while the kiddos are doing, they're at their desk, they're doing their schema notebook, which is my reading notebook. I'm pulling their reading groups to my small group reading area. So on Mondays, I pull my low group and my middle low group. Okay. On Tuesdays, I pull my low group again with the middle group. And then my high group is doing their literature circle. Now this is going to be happening a lot later in the year when my literature circle takes off. Okay. My Wednesdays, I have my low group again, and then my middle low group. Thursdays, I have my low group and my middle group, and then my high group again. Okay. So Fridays is my middle high and my middle low. Okay. So I'm meeting with my low group pretty much 4 days a week. Okay. I'm meeting with my high group, my high literature circle, which is my GT, my high soaring readers, twice a week, okay? And then eventually they can meet by themselves. So I don't have to meet with them because they are independent readers and they know the rules, the procedures for my literature group. And then it frees me up to meet with more groups after they are independent. So this is typically my schedule, okay? Now, it depends on how many kids you have in your room. If you have 20 kids, you're probably going to have 4 or 5 reading groups. If you have less than 20, you're probably going to have 4 reading groups. And then you can organize them however you want to. But that's just the way I do it. So the science of reading is, the new research says that explicitly teaching phonics, phonemic awareness-based instruction allows the student's brain to grasp the phonics concepts first, so that later they will be able to decode words more easily. And I totally agree. In this approach, you would group your students according to their phonics needs, such as phonemic awareness, sound mapping, decoding, word segmentation, and sentence dictation. So in my classroom, I have a mixture of both science of reading and guided reading. I believe that using both types of approaches to reading can help meet more of the needs of my students, especially for your low babies and your high soaring readers. So last year I had 3 groups using the Science of Reading strategies, and I had 2 groups using guided reading strategies. I grouped my high students according to their reading level, fluency, comprehension, and I grouped my low students according to their phonemic awareness, phonics assessments. So you can really do both, okay? There's a way you can do both. You just have to know the difference between the two so you can easily differentiate the needs of your students. And as the year went on, it was awesome to see my students progress from a phonics-based group to a guided reading group, and that was a big accomplishment. How should I group my students? First of all, your district probably provides you with a reading or phonics assessment to give you as a guide to divide your students into reading phonics groups. For example, in the olden days, we had the DRA, which is F&P. Now we have M-Class, we have iStation, we have district assessments such as reading and phonics benchmarks. Once you have the data from your assessments, then you can decide how you want to group your students. So here are some different groups that met different skills for my first grade students. And if you notice, I have 3 ways of grouping for the Science of Reading, and then I have 4 ways of grouping for guided reading. So my Science of Reading groups were my low group, okay? They were phonemic awareness and my sound wall. My low middle group was sound mapping and sentence dictation. My middle group was decodable reading and sentence dictation. And then my 2 high groups were guided reading groups. So my middle high group was my reading fluency, reading comprehension. And then my high group was, of course, my reading comprehension fluency. And then that one turned into my literature circle as the year went on. Okay? So you can do it any way that you want to, but that's just the way that I like to do it. So this is just going to give you an example of my 5 reading groups. I have Lovely Lambs, which are my low group. So these, if you are still using DRA or running records, you could have your level A kids and level B kids in your low group. In your middle group, they're called my Radiant Rabbits. They are still a SOAR group. They're my C's. And so these kids would have level C or level D. My Dazzling Dogs would be my middle group, which is also Science of Reading. All my level D's. And so these 3 groups right here are working on phonemic awareness with Hegarty, or my sound wall, or decodable passages, sentence dictation, sound mapping. And then my last 2 high groups are my guided reading groups. They're level E's. And then my high group was my level M's and K's. So these are just some examples of how you could group your kiddos. Okay? If you use M-Class is a phonemic awareness, letter naming, decoding, word reading, reading fluency, reading accuracy test that we give for beginning and middle and end. So you could use the M-Class to group your kiddos as well. So I circled, this is an example of 2 of my kiddos that I just tested last week. The composite score was above level, which is great. But if you can see, this student right here for phonemic awareness, he's below level right here. So I am going to put him in a lower reading group so he can work on his phonemic awareness. That means that whenever he was supposed to be segmenting words, for example, when he was segmenting the word, let's say he was going to do open, he wasn't segmenting the word the correct way. So he cannot hear the sounds as well. He can read perfectly fine, but the sound of phonemic awareness needs some help. So I may put him in a different group to start off with, and then move him up to the guided reading group later to work on his fluency. But first he needs phonemic awareness help. So I hope that makes sense. So you can look at your M-Class data. Some kids need letter naming in their group. Some kids need letter sounds. Some kids need decoding. So it depends on their scores on their M-Class. You can really look to see what they really need. I hope that makes sense. So my phonemic awareness sound wall low group. This is what I do with them. In my low reading group, we work on phonemic awareness using Hegarty. Now, if you're not familiar with Hegarty, it's a phonemic awareness based curriculum. It's strictly oral, okay? So I say a word, we change either the beginning or the middle or the ending sound by listening to the directions. It has blending, word segmentation, sound mapping, and more. It also has hand motions with each skill, which I love. I love using hand motions so that their schema retains it better, makes better connections. I love using Heggerty because it's easy, simple, and a quick way to practice phonemic awareness, and only takes about 5-10 minutes, and the kids love it. So I do Heggerty as a whole group with my my students when we do our 95% phonics in the morning. I also do Heggerty with my small group, my low babies. Okay, so I do it twice. My low babies get to hear it twice a day, and they're like, "Oh, Miss Rickman, we have to do this again." But the more they hear it, the better they get with phonemic awareness. Another fun thing I do with my low group is identifying sounds on my word wall. I'm sorry, my sound wall. I had to get my brain out of there. Sound wall. If you're not familiar with a sound wall, they are sound cards that you have the letter and show the mouth forms for that letter. For example, if you have a vowel valley, the vowel valley makes a V, like I showed you in the picture, with different vowel sounds from the smallest to the largest opening of the mouth. And the smallest opening is at the edges, and the largest opening is at the bottom of the V. Okay? It shows the difference in how your mouth and lips look for each sound. So some students have a really hard time making the sound. They don't know how to position their mouth correctly. Okay? So this concept is extremely challenging for students with speech issues. We all know that, right? So having a sound wall next to your teacher table or your teacher area where you're teaching will help those students visualize the sounds you're asking them to make. So again, here is my sound wall. So what you can do is you can cover the sounds with a Post-it note or a piece of an index card or whatever. Cover the sounds until you introduce them, okay? Because it's overwhelming for the kids to see this whole thing, okay? So cover them until you introduce them, and then slowly pick up the cards or the Post-it notes as you introduce your new sounds, okay? I also have a portable sound wall at my teacher table that we also go over, and that is also in the resource that you could win. It's a portable one, so it's basically just the sound wall shrunk down, and I put it into a clear plastic sleeve. So we go over the sound wall at their table, so they have it right there in front of them. Okay, so that was my low group. Okay, my low middle group works on sound mapping or sentence dictation. Okay, so my low group primarily focuses on these two things. We use this template to practice making our CVC or CVCE words. We use red and yellow chips, and I'll show you what that is in just a second. The yellow chips are for the consonants, and the red chips are for the vowels. I always have to tell my kids, it's not consonants, it's consonants. I have a map that has 3 boxes, and I also have a map that has 4 boxes. We say the word, we push the chips into the boxes for each sound, and then last we write the word to the side, and I do this with all of my short vowel words, okay? So this is an example of my sound mapping. So this one would be the CVC words. We push the sounds, the chips into the boxes for the word act, and then we say consonant, vowel, consonant, and then they write the word to the side. Or you can do 4 of them if you want to do the CVCE, or you can do words that have the digraphs or the trigraphs. So we can do consonant, consonant, vowel, consonant, such as flat. So they're learning how to push the chips into the boxes for the different sounds. So this is also in my resource that you could win my sound mapping decodable readers, okay? So this is what mine looks like. And you can put it in a clear plastic sleeve if you want to, so the kids can write on them with their Expo marker, okay? So really, all you need are those colored chips. If you don't have the colored chips, you could use the bingo chips also, and then just pull out all the reds and all the yellows out of the bingo chips. Okay? Okay, so last in this group, we do some sentence dictation. Sentence dictation is where we work on writing complete sentences using capitals, periods, correct spelling, finger spaces. We use our whiteboards and our Expo markers. For my low babies, I like using their whiteboards so they can easily erase and try again if they need to. And that way they don't get so frustrated with having to erase multiple times. I say the sentence and the students repeat the sentence back to me, okay? And this is a lot what we do in 95% phonics too. We count the words on our fingers and then we draw the lines on our whiteboard. I try to encourage the students to sound out their words as well as they can. We tap the word, okay? We sound it out, we tap it, and then we finger stretch it, and then we write it, okay? We practice stretching out the words and tapping with our fingers. And I also try to say the sentence a lot of different times so it helps them be successful. And the sentence already has words that we built in earlier in the lesson. Okay? So we might do this 3 or 4 times. So here's an example of some of my kiddos with their magnetic board. And then their dry erase marker. So one of the sentences they had to write was, the dog likes to swim. And so they were writing the word, they draw the lines, and I teach them how to make the lines so they can count the words. So teaches them how to have finger spaces between the words. And then they have to have a capital and a period. And then at the bottom, they draw a picture to go with it. So if you have any magnetic or whiteboards or anything like that, you can have them, bring them to the table when you're doing your small group, or you can have them in the chair pocket behind you. Okay? Oh, and Gina says, I love using the mini erasers. Oh, that's cute. Yeah. And that way you could use them for all the different holidays, right? I love that. That's a great idea. Decodable reading, sentences, dictation. This is my middle group, okay? So my middle group, I love to use decodable readers. Decodable readers are short stories that have easily decodable words from word families, okay? I always start with the word family or short vowels that we're learning during our phonics block. We use our 95% curriculum, which is 95% phonics. Decodable readers set up the students for success because they're easily decodable, hence the name decodable readers. So we do sound mapping first, and I like to practice some words they will see in the story before reading it. And then we do a picture walk of the story. We talk about some new sight words they might see. We frame the words with our fingers and we say them. So here are some examples of some decodable readers, of my students reading some decodable readers. So I have books that my district has ordered for us. And I also have created decodable passages. Now, I love using these decodable passages. They're all different short vowel and long vowel. They're in the sound mapping resource that you could win. And so it has a really short passage. And then at the bottom, it says, draw a picture. How many short I words can you find? So they have to circle all the short I words. It's just like when they do a 95% phonics. They highlight the words that we are talking about. So they count them, and then they write the number, and then they have a question at the bottom. So we go over the question together. Where is the pig? So we read the story together, or as they start to read, or more independently, they can read it by themselves, and then they have to answer the question at the bottom with a complete sentence. And so our phonics assessments always have a decodable passage and reading comprehension questions at the bottom. And it's very tricky for some of these low babies. They have a really hard time finding the text evidence. So we talk about how to find the text evidence. We go back and we underline the answer in the story, and then they use that answer to write that line to write their answer at the bottom. Okay? So for example, the first one says the big pig. The big pig is at the mill. The pig has on a wig. He digs on a big hill. The pig swims with a fish. The fish has a gill. The fish and pig swim at the mill. So where is the pig? So we're going to highlight the big pig is at the mill. And so we highlight that sentence, or we underline it, and then they write that as a complete sentence. The big pig is at the mill. So I told them they have to have 5 or more words in a complete sentence. Okay? 5 or more words in a complete sentence. So that's what I do for all the short vowels. And that's also in that resource that you could get for free. So speaking of free, let's go ahead and pick another winner. Okay, so let's see. How about Linda McElroy? Yay, Linda. You are my second winner, Linda. Congratulations. Awesome. So far, I have Sheila and Linda for my winners, okay? All right, so now we're going to go into the other spectrum with guided reading. So a guided reading is a framework of your reading groups, okay? Guided reading, my small group reading takes about 15-20 minutes, no longer than that, okay? I meet with 2 groups a day, unless it's Tuesday, Thursday, and then I meet with about 3 groups. So you're rereading a familiar text. If you're doing guided reading, you're rereading a familiar text. This is the order that guided reading is. Then you're practicing sight words, okay? This is where I'm going to do my sight word data tracker, okay? I'm going to show you what that looks like at the end. And then we can do an introduction to new sight words. Okay, so we find new sight words in the new book. We introduce the new book. We do a picture walk of the new book. And then we're reading independently. We're scattered reading. So they don't all read at the same time. I start them at different times so they're not reading at the same time, because I don't want them listening to the person next to them. In case that person reads a wrong word, then they're going to read a wrong word too. Okay, so I stagger them so they don't start at the same time. At the end of the story, we do word work, and that word work could consist of their magnetic letters, their guided writing booklet, reading comprehension. We do a lot of reading comprehension after we are finished with the story as well. If you're interested in any professional literature for reading strategies, Jennifer Saravallo has a great book that you can read called Reading Strategies. Or Jan Richardson has the Guided Reading Teacher's Companion, or the Next Step Forward in Guided Reading. So these are excellent if you want to have any more information about your guided reading groups. But like I said, the balance, the one that I showed you earlier, has both of them segued together, which is awesome. So these are my guided reading baskets. And so I have lovely lambs, cool cows, dazzling dogs, marvelous mice, radiant rabbits. Now, those might sound really funny to you, but I have a farmhouse theme in my room. And so all of my groups are all farmhouse animals. Okay, that's why I have those animals up there. And really, they really can't tell at first who the high group is and who the low group is, because they're all different animals. They can't tell. But as the year goes on, then my cool cows are going to start reading their chapter books, and then the class is going to figure it out. So, but at first they don't. So these are some guided reading materials that you could have. Here's your magnetic letters in the pencil pouches. I like to use pencil pouches for that. Or you could have the magnetic letters in the boxes. And then you can have your popsicle sticks. I use popsicle sticks with comprehension questions on them. So I use those every single time we meet, though they love those. Here's my carousel caddy with all my different supplies. Here's my reading binder, small group reading binder with all the different groups in it. Then I have my guided writing booklet, which I'm going to share with you in just a little bit. So like I said, I would suggest having a binder to put all of your lesson plans in. If you're required to have lesson plans for your small group reading table, I would have a binder or someplace that you can store all of them. Plus, you want to store your M-Class data. You want to store your running records if you still want to do those. And your phonics assessments, if you have phonics assessments, put them in your binder under each child's magic number. Okay, so you can have all of your templates all together when you want to go to your child study meeting and you want to refer somebody to testing, and you have all of the data together for you. This is a blank lesson plan that I have in the resource, Are You Fixed It for Guided Reading? So this is a blank lesson plan template you can use. You can write the new text that you're going to be introducing each day, the intro, how you're going to hook them into reading, your picture walk with pictures and details, and they're going to predict what the story is about, your new sight words that you are introducing, your running record. You can write down which child you're doing a running record with each day. And then your retelling, you're using your popsicle sticks, your comprehension questions, and then your word work at the end. Okay? These are some examples of what my lesson plans look like for each group. So this group only had 2 children in it. This group has 5 children in it. This is from a couple years ago. And then I'm introducing the new text. This group meets on Tuesday, Thursday, and this group over here meets Monday, Wednesday. Okay? So it's up to you however you want to do that, but as long as you stay organized. If you're still doing a running record, you could do 100 word count. And I still do a running record at the very beginning of the year with all my kiddos, because I like to know how their reading level is, because that's before I do M-Class, and I still want to know, are they able to read or not? I mean, I still want to know that. So I'd still do a running record, and then you can do 100 word count, and then see if it's a frustrational or instructional or independent. Okay, these are some examples of my running records that I've had in the past. If it's independent, they are 95% above. If they're instructional, they are 90 to 94%. And if they're frustrational, it's 90% and lower. Okay, so you want to have them either independent or instructional level when you're doing your guided reading groups. Here is the conversion chart that I use for independent right here, instructional and frustrational. Okay, so moving on to my reading fluency middle high group. So with this reading group, I use my guided reading levels. I test my students each month to see what their reading level is. If they are an H or above, I start them with guided reading books. So I have an example of a guided reading data tracker. I'll show you in just a minute, and I keep track of their reading levels. I also keep track of how they're progressing each month, so I know, and they love to see if they move up their levels. And so here is what my data tracker looks like. So I just bubble in like what level they are. Here's my class list, an example, and then I bubble in their reading levels. And so then then I know how to group them if you're still doing it that way. This group uses the pacing of guided reading. So we pre-read old stories, we introduce new sight words, we do a picture walk, we read new text, and then guided writing. And then I also have a guided writing booklet that we go through, and I'll show you what that looks like. My middle high group, we talk about reading comprehension, is extremely important for these high readers. They may have excellent fluency, but they have no idea what they're reading. So we practice in predicting our text before reading with going over new sight words, reading new text, and then answering comprehension questions. And I wrote some questions out on some popsicle sticks, and the students get to choose one color of their popsicle stick to read a question, okay? The popsicle sticks have questions like, who are the characters? What is author's purpose? Tell the beginning, middle, and end. What is the genre? Where was the setting? What was the problem? And you can make up a lot of different questions if you wanted to. It's just a really quick way for me to monitor their comprehension. So here are the popsicle sticks that I have. And I have them in a little bucket, and they just pick out a color. And I always tell them, try to pick a different color than what you had before. Don't keep getting the same color over and over again. Get a different color. So they always have a different question each time. So it's not, so they can have a different, they don't want to have the same question over and over again because they already can think about it. So this time they pick a different color. They have no clue what the question's going to be. So it makes them think better. Keeps them on their toes. And then my guided writing is all groups, okay? So if it's sentence dictation, to me that's still guided writing, but it just looks different from the science of reading groups than the guided reading groups. So it's a writing resource that I created that allows me to progress monitor my students when they are practicing their writing skills. This is a strategy that I can use for all of my reading groups, but differentiate it to meet their needs. If I have a student that needs to be tested for dyslexia or dysgraphia, then this is excellent data to keep. I have two ways that we practice. One way is on our whiteboards, like I shared in the previous reading group. The other way is in my guided writing booklet. This booklet has pages with sound pictures, blank lines for sight word practices, pages for retelling the beginning, middle, and end, the author's purpose, story elements, sequence of events, and text connections. When one booklet is full, the students can take them home, and then I'll make them a new one with different pages than the last book. So here's an example. Here's the cover, my guided writing book. This is when I had my daughter Kennedy in my first grade class. So this is the cover. And then inside I have ABCs here, and then I have a blank for a sight word, okay? I also have a page that has all the different sounds, like a sound wall, inside of the guided writing booklet. So whatever the sight word is for the day, they can write it here. Or if you have a really, really high group, you can have them do text connections, or you can have them write beginning, middle, and end from the story, or you could have them write author's purpose or the sequence of events, whatever you want them to do, whatever skill you are teaching them in your reader's workshop. Let's say that you're teaching author's purpose in your reader's workshop mini lesson, and then you want to also carry it over into your reading groups. You can do that with a guided writing booklet. Okay, and so there's all different skills in this booklet, and it's in my TPT store if you're interested. I will put a link in the comments below, and so you can see it, okay? So after the webinar is over, you can check the comments for the link if you're interested. So then I go to my literature circles. So my high group that's doing my guided writing is eventually going to be going to my literature circles. So if I'm a literature circles, I prefer them to be at a level J or higher. If they are above level with their M class, they're in the blue and they're above level, they're pretty much ready for my literature circles. So I have them read chapter books such as Frog and Toad or Magic Treehouse or whatever you like, what might interest them, as long as it's not too hard or complicated to comprehend. My students really love Magic Treehouse because I read it to them all year long anyway. So when I tell them that they're going to read Magic Treehouse, oh my gosh, they get so excited. They're super excited about it. So each student in my literature circle has a job. I have a description page and a calendar that they refer to so they know which job role they will be for the day. So I have 6 different rotations of jobs. I have discussion director. I have passage picker, summarizer, artful artist, word wizard, and literature connector. So this group meets with me twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I meet with them 6 times before their meeting independently. This way I can go over all the 6 jobs and they all do the same job at the same time. So they're all going to do discussion director at the same time. They're all going to do passage picker at the same time. They're all going to do text connector at the same time. First, they each read a new page out loud for the group, and then we will complete their comprehension page by writing in their folder. So they each have a literature circle folder that they complete their job in for the day. I have journal templates at the back of their folder to write on, and last they will share what they wrote to each other. And this group takes a lot of time to practice at first, but once they understand what the jobs are, they are good to go. So here's an example of one of my literature circles from last year. And they each have a folder. I have those picture dictionaries that they work out of because I have the passage picker or the word wizard. The word wizard finds a particular word that they want to look up in the dictionary. So I give them a picture dictionary to look up a word, and they write the word in their journal in the back of their folder. And then I have a passage picker. They pick their favorite passage for the day and they write it down. I have an artful artist. They illustrate a picture of what they read for the day. I have a discussion director. The discussion director writes down questions for the group. So now that they have, you've had them in your reading group for a while and you've gone over those comprehension questions for those popsicle sticks, then they understand what questions to ask. So they're writing their own questions to ask their group. Okay, this is really, really great for rigor and relevance. If you want to really dive deep into rigor and relevance, the literature circle really does a great job with this. Okay, so they're inventing their own questions, they're inventing their own passages, their own words, and they're trying to find them in the dictionary, and they're sharing with each other what they found for the day. They have to share. So they go around the circle and they say, hello, my name is Kara. Today I was the discussion director. And then they ask a question and the kids raise their hand. And then they call on someone to answer the question. Or they can say, hello, my name is Kara. Today I was the artful artist. Here's the picture that I drew. And I drew this picture because, so they have to explain to the group why they drew that picture from the story. So there's a lot of high-level thinking going on here, a lot of rigor and relevance, a lot of problem solving going along. So Literature Circle is really fun for your high-soaring readers, okay? So this is my sight word data tracker that I just created. And by the way, if you're interested in my Literature Circle resource, I can link it in the comments. So just let me know if you want it and I can link it later, okay? And you can look at it. I also have a blog post all about it too, so you can read about it. These are my sight word lists. So what I did was I took my sight word list that I got from my district. My district has a certain sight word list that we have to use every year. And I broke it up into 10 words each. So each list has 10 words. And then I thought, wouldn't it be fun if the kids could color in their gumball machine? After they master each list, they can color the gumball that matches the list. So for example, the first list, they have to read thee and I of his, have, at, am, him, her. So they decide what color they want their first gumball to be. They can color it red if they want to. So they color this gumball red on their list, and then they have a gumball machine in the back of their data folder, and they color the first gumball that has a 10 as a red gumball to match the first list that they did. So the colors match together, okay? List number 2, they might want to color it blue. So then they look for the 20 in the gumball machine, and then the 20 is a blue gumball. So my plan is that when they fill their whole gumball machine, they get bubble gum. So they're going to pop their sight words, okay? So it's an incentive for them. But you can give them whatever reward you want them to have. But I just thought it would be fun for them to earn some bubble gum, because the kids love bubble gum. I don't know what it is about bubble gum, but so I have 2 different ones. I have a colored one that has a colored copy. So I thought it would be fun if you could put this on a bulletin board. You could make a class bulletin board of all the kids have their own gumball machine, and then whatever list that they're doing this, whatever list that they master, they can take a Post-it note, or they can take a stick pin, or they can put something on top of the gumball that shows how many they have done. Okay, so then when they fill their whole gumball machine, they get bubble gum. And I also have from 110 to 200 also. So this is not the only one I have. I have lots of them in here. So they go all the way to 200. I have 200 words in this list. So it's a really fun thing for them to keep track of their sight words. And I'm going to keep this in their data folder, because in my data folder, I have their calendars that they track attendance. And then I have their addition, subtraction, fact fluency. I have their iStation scores. And then I'm going to put their sight word data scores in here also. So I'm going to have a lot of different data going on this year. Last year I tracked their addition, subtraction, fact fluency. I'm still going to be doing that in their data folder, but now I'm going to also add their sight words. Okay, so if you're interested, this is one of the resources that you could win today. Okay, so I just want to say this, a word of caution. Okay, so I always have to say this because I wouldn't start these groups right away. Okay, I would wait 4 to 6 weeks or so, because you want to spend tons of time teaching your rules and procedures to your class. Because here's the thing. The last thing you want to have happen is to have your students come up and interrupt you while you're teaching at your teacher table, right? Okay, give me a thumbs up if you have had kids, and I know we've all had this problem. Give me a thumbs up if you've had kids that are coming up and interrupting you while you're trying to teach at your small group table. Give me a thumbs up, okay? Don't be embarrassed. Everybody has this problem. Even I have had this problem. So I came up with a solution. So take your time at the beginning of the year to really model your expectations, and so your reading groups will be off to a great start when it's time, okay? How you do that is when you're having your kids sit. For example, when you're having a reader's workshop, you're having them work on their schema notebook, you're having a desk contest going on, they are competing to see who the quietest table is, okay? So you're giving points if they're talking. They're getting bonus bucks if they're not talking. If they get a point, they have to owe you bonus bucks, okay? So you're teaching your class to stay quiet. You're putting the music on while they're working, okay? So it's a calming feeling, it's a warm environment, and you're still able to pull your groups, but it's a low murmur, and they're not talking, okay? So I also have what's called a peer facilitator. My peer facilitator is my star student, okay? They're walking around and answering questions for me. So this is how I am not bothered. And this is gold, y'all. This is gold. And even first graders can do this, okay? You just have to teach them, okay? This is going to be my fourth week of school, and I'm going on my 3rd star student already. So I've already had 2 kids that have already been my peer facilitator. They can do this, okay? It is so worth it. You teach them how to look for questions. You teach them how to whisper, pss, 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 okay? You teach them how to go to their desk, the child that has their hand up. They go to their desk and they answer questions quietly. So you are not bothered. They have a special hat that they wear. So these little visors you can get off of Amazon. And then I got the foam letters and I just hot glued "Ask Me" on these visors. They pick a color they like, okay? And they get to answer questions for the whole week. They love this. So I have a VIP table. They sit at my VIP table and they have a special placemat that they use for being a star student. And their job is to answer questions for Miss Rickman while I am testing or I am doing my reading groups, okay? And I even tell the star student, even the star student cannot come and bother me. You have to problem solve the best that you can. And then when I'm finished with my reading group, then I'll see what you need, okay? But you have to wait until I'm finished before you can ask me what you need, okay? I even show them where the extra markers are. I show them where the extra crayons are. I show them where the extra glue sticks are. If somebody loses a glue stick, if somebody runs out of glue, the star student can get it for them. I am not bothered. It is fabulous, okay? So if you ever have had, I've never had a star student that as a peer facilitator, I highly recommend it, okay? This will save your life, save your stress level, and you will be so much happier, and you'll be able to concentrate so much better on the kids at your small group reading table because you're not bothered, okay? So the rest of the kids are working on their schema notebook, which is my reader's notebook. They're doing a reader's workshop. So like I said, it's a framework. The I do, the we do, and the you do. During the you do part of the gradual release of responsibility, they are sitting at their desk and they are doing reading comprehension with Post-it notes, or they have a graphic organizer, or they're reading their story, okay? My kids take home books every day to read. I have a reading log they take home every day. They get a new book every day to read, and it's on their own reading level. So it's an instructional reading level, so it's not too hard. But I have tons and tons of books that they can choose from. I don't choose the books for them. They know exactly where to go to get their book. They use that book to read when they have independent reading time. So they're comprehending what I have taught them in my small group, my mini lesson. If it's about sequence of events and I've taught them how to do it in my mini lesson, then they're doing sequence of events from their own story. Okay. Now, at the beginning of the year, it's harder for them to do this. So what I do is I read them a story and they're comprehending what I read. Now, as the year goes on, they're getting more independent, right? Their stamina is getting better. And then they can read their own story and then they can respond with their own story. But first, I model to them what it looks like and sounds like with my own story that I read to them. So like right now I'm reading about, we're doing Kevin Hincks' author study. So we're doing beginning, middle, and end retelling. We did Lily's Purple Plastic Purse last week. We did Wimberly Worried. Next week we're going to do Owen and Julius and all the different Kevin Hincks books. And they're retelling what I'm reading, but then eventually they can do their own. Now, if you have second grade or third grade, of course they can already do their own story. They can comprehend, or they're supposed to comprehend their own story, right? So they're doing schema notebook. The star student goes around and checks their schema notebook when they're finished. So they're supposed to raise their hand. The star student comes to their desk and checks their work. If it's not shaded the right way, the star student will tell them, you forgot to shade. If it's not outlined a certain way, the star student will say, you forgot to outline. If they forgot to glue it in their notebook, the star student will remind them, get your schema notebook and you have to glue it in. So you want to pick a star student that is on their A game, that they know exactly what's going on, right? It's probably going to be a girl, no lie, but girls are usually more responsible at the beginning than boys are. I have a couple of boys this year that are pretty good, but a girl is really good to start off with because they're very responsible. They whisper, they do exactly what you ask them to do. And the boys can look and see what she's doing and then they can follow suit, right? Okay. So as they're doing all of this, I am sitting back at the back of the room and I am reading with my reading groups. I have a Mr. Clicker attention getter. I click my clicker. If they're talking, I look at them. If they're talking, they get a point on their animal. The star student goes over to the wall where the animals are. I have gray goats and Palomino ponies and calico cats. And they go and put a tally mark on their animal. And if they get a point, they owe me bonus bucks. This keeps them quiet. And it helps them stay on task. Okay? It really, really does. So, if you have any questions about any of those things that I just taught you, okay, please ask, because at the end I'm going to have a Q&A, okay? I would love to answer some of your questions. So we're going to switch gears a little bit, and if you sign up for my Cross-Curricular Connections membership, you can take back your weekends and your evenings for yourself and your family. So I'm going to show you a quick video of what my Cross Connections membership looks like. Hey teachers, this is Kara Rickman from Create Your Balance with Literacy. Let's get back to school with cross-curricular lesson plans for 48 different lessons for 10 days in reading, writing, math, science, and social studies. The objectives for Reader's Workshop are: I can identify and discuss rules and procedures for my reading block. For Writer's Workshop, the objective is I can learn and discuss rules and procedures for Writer's Workshop. For Math Workshop, the objective is I can learn and discuss my rules and procedures for Math Workshop, including stations. For Science, the objective is I can identify and discuss what a scientist is and what tools they use. For Social Studies, the objective is I can identify and discuss rules and procedures of the classroom. These lessons include objectives, suggested mentor text, anchor charts, writing templates, and interactive notebooks. All of this could be yours if you join me in my Cross-Curricular Connections membership. You could be able to take back your weekends to spend time with your family or yourself. And the hard part is already done for you. Let's take your classroom to the next level. You deserve it. All right, so what is the cost? So I know that I have a couple of teachers in this group right now that are already in my membership. So if you guys want to comment and give some feedback about the membership, that would be awesome. And so the cost for level 1 is $20 a month. So you have unlimited access to my 400 plus resources, all from my TPT store. You get it all in your membership, okay? Plus new ones that I add each month, okay? You also have webinars. All of the webinars that I've ever taught are each in different categories, okay? All the different webinars for Writer's Workshop, Math Workshop, Guided Reading, Literature Circles, Literacy Centers, they're all in the membership. I also have YouTube videos, and I have YouTube videos of my class working for Writer's Workshop and what it looks like. I have me teaching. I have videos of me teaching, my calendar, my focus poetry, my reading mini lessons, all different videos that you can watch. I have updated lesson plans, exclusive lesson plans for each month, okay, that are only offered in my membership. So if you're interested in All About Me or Apples or Native Americans or Christmas Around the World, they're all in this membership, okay? It goes step by step for about 48 different lessons for 10 days. It's 10 days long. And then, of course, my podcast is in there. My podcast is about teaching cross-curricular made easy. The level 2 membership is $25 a month. This one also has exactly what level 1 has, okay? It has 400 plus resources from my TPT store, plus all the webinars that I have ever taught are in there, and I update them each month, okay? When I give new ones, like this one I'm giving right now, this one's going to go in the membership. All the YouTube videos I've ever had are in there. All my lesson plans are updated, and all my lesson plans are also really good for substitutes, okay? So Math and Writer's Workshop courses plus Empowering Connection was my back to school course that I just gave this past summer. And so the courses are also in there. And I also have my podcast. And the best part is that you can be in a one-on-one coaching call with me as you need it. Okay. So those are all the things that level 2 has. The courses are amazing. Okay. I'm going to show you what the courses look like in just a minute. What does membership include? So the 400 plus resources are 69 back to school resources. That's a lot. A year-long poetry bundle, 125 linking literature resources, 23 math workshop resources, 47 science investigation resources, 6 authors study units such as Kevin Hinks, Laura Numeroff, Patricia Polacco, Jan Brett, Tommy DePaula, and Peter Reynolds. 42 Writer's Workshop resources, 21 Reader's Workshop, plus 6 Reader's Theater resources. My thematic units include All About Me, Apples, Community Helpers, Christopher Columbus, Pumpkins, Owls, Bats, Scarecrows, Native Americans, Winter, Christmas Around the World, Penguins, Arctic Animals, Weather, Objects in the Sky, President, American Symbols, Texas, Rainforest, Insects, Plants, Life Cycles, Rocks and Fossils, and Ocean and Sea Life. And I also have 13 farmhouse decor resources for your classroom if you have a farmhouse theme. So the membership also includes 20 plus webinars such as Writer's Workshop, How to start from scratch, from scribbles to stories, the first 10 days of Writer's Workshop, how to launch from day one. Reader's Workshop, Math Workshop, Literacy Centers, Teaching Cross-Curricular, Creative Fun for Back to School, September, October, all the way to May. Fairy Tale Writing, Procedural Writing, Nonfiction Writing, Literature Circles, Behavior Management Reboot, Focus Poetry, Guided Reading, Writing, and now I'm going to add the Science of Reading into that, and then Fahrenheit Friday, which is my science investigations that I do every Friday. So Janina says, I used this for the first 10 days of school. It was amazing. It was all done for me, stress-free. Thanks, Janina. That's awesome. And then Jelaine says, this membership is amazing. We're only in the 12th day of school. I have used 3 reading, and 5 cross-curricular resources. So helpful. I started the membership level 1 and then switched to level 2. So thank you, Jelaine and Janina. That's awesome. I'm so glad that you guys are here, and then you can give good feedback about that. So the level 2 courses are from Scribbles to Stories, How to Launch Writer's Workshop from Day 1, and then Math Workshop Magic, Empowering K2 Mathematicians, How to Launch Your Math Workshop from Day 1. And then I have my other course that I just added was Empowering Connection, which is the first week of school course, which has the focus poetry, the literacy centers, the first 10 days of Writer's Workshop, first 10 days of Reader's Workshop, first 10 days of Math Workshop, first 10 days of Science, first 10 days of Social Studies with Creating Order and Rules and Procedures. So the Empowering Connection course is amazing. I've had a lot of great feedback about that. The total value of this is $600, but you get it for half off. It's only $300. You get a great deal. The level 1 is $20 a month, and the level 2 is $25 a month. And after 14 days, if you're not satisfied, you get your money back guaranteed, okay? So I am so blessed to be able to be in this Facebook group with you guys and to be able to share these ideas with you. If you need PD credit, message me on Facebook Messenger, and I will send you a certificate today because I am CPE certified, okay? So you're going to get a certificate for 1 hour today, blending science of reading with guided reading. And you know the best part about this is, you guys, you can download this webinar. You can download it. You can watch it however many times you want to. If you have any questions from today's webinar, please ask, okay? So I'm going to give away one more resource, okay? So our next winner is going to be Lisa Carol Strichel. Lisa Carol. So Lisa is my 3rd winner. Congratulations, Lisa. That's awesome. And so my 3 winners today were Sheila and Linda and Lisa. Okay. So you guys can choose between my Soundwall resource for free, or my sound mapping decodable readers for free, or my SiteWord data trackers for free, or my guided reading resource for free that has all my guided reading reading templates for lesson plans and running records and everything. So if you have any questions, please ask me. You can always post a question in our Facebook group. We really need to up the engagement in our Facebook group, so I love it whenever you guys ask questions anytime. Please do. I am glad to answer them for you. And also, if you want a certificate, please message me on Facebook Messenger for today. I will send it to you. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Enjoy your day tomorrow and get some rest and relax and recharge for the week. You guys deserve it. So until next time, let's take your classroom to the next level. I love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.